Sampson had gotten a mismatch on 6'1" Jerry Seasting. After some pushing and jostling for position, Sampson turned around and delivered 2 quick, heavy blows to Seasting, igniting a bench-clearing altercation.
Oh!
Sampson was...
Man, he was punching everybody. Who was Sampson? Let's get it. We back. And we got Making the Case, 1986 Celtics. Shout out to you, the person that told me to check out this video. I just feel like it's going to be a great video. So I appreciate that. Also, if you're new to the channel and you want me to check out any videos, please comment them in the comment section. But before you even do that, hit that subscribe button. Turn your notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on all Larry Bird videos. And also hit that like button as well. We've been doing real good with the likes, y'all. We've been way over 50 likes, 100 likes, even over 200 likes for some of these videos. And I appreciate y'all so much. It's bringing so much more people to the channel, especially Larry Bird fans, just like we are. Also, if you want, go to my channel and check out the playlist, and you'll be able to see all of the past Larry Bird reactions that I've already done so far. So go ahead, get on that, check that out. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to get started with this video because I don't want to talk y'all heads off. No one likes a long intro.
What's the goal of basketball? To win, right? But not just to win individual games. The ultimate goal is to win a championship. Of course, basketball is a team sport. Championships are won by the most complete, most inspired team. Every champion deserves credit, but the question on my mind is, who's the greatest team of all time? With apologies to Bill and Wilt, I have a list of 8 teams since 1970 that I want to look at as having a claim to that distinction. It is a loaded question, and one that I ultimately can't answer. Is it the teams that were front-runners from beginning to end? The ones who were unbeatable at their peak? Maybe the ones who tapped into something special and overcame countless obstacles? There is no right answer. It's your job to make your own call. And it's my job to make the case. So today, I'll be making the case for the 1986 Boston Celtics as the greatest basketball team of all time. Some quick background. In the 1985 NBA Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Celtics behind the heroic efforts of Magic Johnson and Finals MVP Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was the first time in history that the Lakers had defeated the Celtics in the Finals, going back as far as 1959. In the ensuing offseason, the Celtics made key roster moves, licked their wounds, then rattled off a league-high 67 wins on their way to raising the franchise's 16th championship banner. Their 67-15 record stands as the best record in Celtics history, and their 15-3 playoff record serves as a testament to their aptitude on both ends of the court.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They trotted out the original Big Three of Robert Parish, Kevin McHale, and the immortal Larry Bird, a dynamic backcourt of Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge, and boasted a talented bench anchored by former league MVP Bill Walton. Now, before we go any further, I want to reach out to some of you out there.
Hold on, y'all. I seen Rick Carlisle's name on there, and I always knew of Rick Carlisle. I know Rick Carlisle is a coach or maybe a GM or, something of stature in NBA. But I didn't really, notice him really doing too much of anything when he played for the Celtics. So, if anybody knows, please drop it in the comments. But when did Rick Carlisle blossom and become someone in the NBA that was going to be hired as a basketball coach eventually? Or did he not? He just, eventually just grew out of the NBA and grew into that position. But did he have some sort of crazy seasons or anything like that? Apparently he must have won a ring this year, so I'm just curious to know about that. I don't know too much about Rick Carlisle. So if anyone don't mind, drop that in the comments, please.
Some of you might be a little jaded about this team. And that's because some of the most prominent and influential figures in sports media were around for and swear by this team. Your Bill Simmons, your Jackie McMullins, your Bob Bryans, they all have a connection to this squad in some way or another, so the discourse around the '86 Celtics has always had a certain amount of Boston-centric bias. I want you to know that I have no such bias. I was born and raised in Kansas. I don't give a shit about Boston. Dunkin' Donuts can go to hell as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
And I'm here to tell you that just because those writers were a little bit biased doesn't mean that they're wrong. With that said, where else do we start with the '86 Celtics than with Larry Bird? 1986 saw Bird take home his third straight MVP, joining the historic company of just Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. Never before had a forward submitted a better season than Bird's 7th campaign. He slapped up a 26, 10-7 and was decimal points away from submitting a 50, 40, 90 season. The man had a superlative basketball IQ and remains, for my money, the clutchest player to ever put leather through nylon. He had a blend of all-around skills that began garnering him GOAT talk from people like Bob Cousy and Jerry West. His tenacity on the boards defied his 6'9" frame. His creativity was tantamount to Tesla, and his infectious passing gave the team an identity that remains as impressive and timeless now, some 35 years later, as it was back then. He finished the season ranked 7th in rebounds, 4th in points, 13th in assists, 8th in steals, and 2nd in minutes played. So elevated was his level of play that he admitted to getting bored in games and looking for ways to entertain himself. Like
Larry Bird getting bored in games and looking for ways to entertain himself in the NBA full of professional basketball players is crazy. That is like diabolical smartness right there. Diabolical basketball IQ. Put it like that, because to be bored and just be looking for stuff to do is crazy. But before we keep going, I want to point out that this is the year that they won their championship. This is when they got the first ring. Larry Bird got his first ring. And if anybody noticed that he just named off what Larry Bird came in place when it came, like, place-wise, when he was talking about points, rebounds, assists, and minutes played. So he wasn't the number one that made the most points that season. He wasn't leading in points. He wasn't leading in rebounds that season. He wasn't leading in assists that season. But guess what? He wasn't even leading in minutes. But the closest he came to first was minutes, but he was second. So you mean to tell me that this guy carried his team all the way to the league with, whatever he carried, he carried his team with, and didn't even come in first to anything? That's what you call right there a well-rounded player that gets his team involved. And it's not just about I. It's not just about a King James. It's not just about a Magic Johnson. And even though the Lakers at this point in time, they had stature on their team. They had Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Bradley Cooper, and some other people that are Hall of Famers or big names when you talk about NBA players that retired. But what I'm basically going with this is that, it's not no Michael Jordan, So, yeah, I just want to point out the fact that, Larry Bird did all of that and took his team to a championship, his second year in as a sophomore, with literally not being number one in anything, just number second in minutes played. He just put in all the minutes on the court. He never played. He played every game and went hard. That's what we need to see more of in this league nowadays. Not these people out here that want to be number one in score. Maybe be number one in steals, blocks, and rebounds. Where the defense at? But anyways, let's get back to the video. Drop some in the comments what y'all think about what I just said. I don't want to talk too much in this video, because if I do feel like I'm talking too much, we're going to break this down into 2 parts. And I don't know how you guys personally feel about the whole 2-part thing. So drop that some in the comments as well. If you guys rather just, be here with a solid 30 minutes, or maybe just 15, 20. But anyways, let's get back to the video.
Like taking increasingly ridiculous shots or playing portions of games left-handed. At the other forward spot was Kevin McHale. After back-to-back 6th Man of the Year awards as a super sub, '86 was McHale's first season as a starter, and he immediately began producing at an all-NBA level. With his 6'10" height and unsettlingly long limbs, McHale earned a reputation as one of the great two-way players in the league. Defensively, he was mobile and springy enough to move with quicker swingmen, while being long and strong enough to contest interior scorers. Offensively, there's a reason that Olajuwon and McHale are the two names that get mentioned whenever someone talks about post players. Opponents trapped in McHale's torture chamber were subjected to an array of moves that left them confounded, wondering where on earth the man went and how the hell he'd gotten there. You never knew what he was going to throw at you. He'd combine fakes into an up and under, pivot into an uncontestable fallaway, or whatever else struck his fancy. It's still striking to see him twist and wind through defenders with his moves the same way Kyrie Irving splits defenders with his handle. Averaging 21 points and 8 rebounds a game on an otherworldly 57% field goal percentage, McHale was a luxury for Boston. He would take on the toughest defensive assignment, allowing Bird to roam, and scored with enough efficiency and volume that his counterpart never had to carry the full offensive burden.
Real quick, this is what we want to see when we talk about the bigs in the league nowadays. Don't do nothing with the bigs used to do back in the day. Kevin McHale is, if I'm not mistaken, probably 6'11" at the tallest. Look at his body shape. He's not that huge, but look how he's working everybody in the paint. Now I know I did a video where Charles Barkley said, he really wasn't worried about Larry Bird. Who he was worried about was Kevin McHale. Charles Barkley's huge. He's huge. He's probably he's 250. Solid diesel. Like the man probably benching like 310. Going crazy. Kevin McHale though was a threat. This is what I'm talking about. Kevin McHale is a great big man. I'm not gonna lie. He's definitely a great big man. And this is what we need to see more of right now with these Joel Embiids and these Giannis. In these jokers. I know everything's versatile. Things are changing. You can pull up from the arc, make 3-point shots and everything like that, because now 3-point shots is just like every number one in the whole world now. Just making the game boring. But yeah, this is what we want to see now. It's kind of more interesting watching two people of that same height playing that same point or that same position. Battling in the paint, trying to get a bucket. And Kevin McHale was pretty good at it. Like he said, he averaged that year, I think, like 20-some points.
Rounding out the big three was the man in the middle, the Chief, Robert Parish. As the unsung hero of the team, Parish doesn't get talked about nearly as much as Bird and McHale, but make no mistake, the Chief was dangerous. Keeping in mind that these stats don't include Bill Russell because of a lack of recorded statistics, Parish is still the Celtics' all-time leader in offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, blocks, and is still the NBA's leader in games played.
Wow.
You could rely on Chief for 16 and 10 with Duncan-esque consistency. The man was always in shape and feasted on opposing defenses simply by outrunning them. God only knows how many points he scored because he hustled his way down the court, setting up easy outlet passes. He shot well from the field, was a good free throw shooter, had a reliable jumper, defended, rebounded, set Steven Adams-like picks, and did all the little things. There wasn't a ton of room for heroics on such a loaded roster, so you couldn't count on Parish jumping out at you with a 39-point game, but he embraced being the third option the same way Scottie Pippen embraced being the second.
Perfect.
Never forget that Robert Parish held his own in the age of giants against Ralph Sampson, Olajuwon, Kareem, Moses, Ewing, and the rest of them. At point guard was Dennis Johnson, one of the most underrated players ever. That's a video for another time though. For the Celtics, DJ fulfilled his role as the best defensive guard of his era. With 9 straight all-defensive selections from 79 to 87, only Kobe made more all-defensive teams as a guard. He was the best matchup on Magic of any player in the league, set the table for everyone on his team, and consistently came through in money time. He and Bird had what some refer to as a telepathic connection, making tight wire action between them routine. He was the ringleader of the squad, and Bird still calls him the best player he ever played with. At the other guard was Danny Ainge, a reliable double-digit scorer and wily little rascal that thrived on riling up the opposition and getting under their skin. Ainge was also one of the great shooters of the era and went on to demolish the single-season three-point record in 1988. A talented multi-sport athlete, Ainge remains the only high schooler to be named a first-team All-American in football, baseball, and basketball.
That's why Danny Ainge was so athletic. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but that's why he was such a great player out there. He had so much heart. He was just a pure athlete. Shout out to Danny Ainge for being such a great player and a great addition to the Celtics, even if he didn't really start. He really carried and did a lot of different things that helped the Celtics go far. I watched one of the games. If you didn't see the game, it's on my channel. It was Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls versus the Boston Celtics and Larry Bird. And Danny Ainge, actually, this game had like 20-something points. So he was like really holding the ground, holding the team down when Larry Bird wasn't in the game, or even when he was. Shout out to all of them, actually. But let's just get back to the video.
Coming off the bench was the Celtics' secret weapon, Bill Walton. Drafted first overall by the Portland Trail Blazers in 1974, Walton had a transcendent stretch of basketball in the late 70s, guiding the Blazers to the NBA championship in 77 and winning league MVP in 78.
Shout out to Bill Walton. It's a wrestler, WWE wrestler, SmackDown wrestler, but it was like an old wrestler. He was a giant. I think his name was Andre the Giant, now that I think about it. But don't Bill Walton look like Andre the Giant, y'all? Hey, shout out to Bill Walton as well for being a great addition to the team. I never forget the story where Bill Walton talked about how he played one-on-one against Kevin McHale, and DJ was like the person that was calling the fouls and stuff like that. And he kicked Kevin McHale's butt. It was a funny story. But yeah, let's get back to the video. Hey, and please, somebody let me know if that was Andre the Giant. But he looked like Andre the Giant right here.
Injuries derailed his career at the end of his 78 season, though, and he played in just 14 games over the next 4 seasons. By 86, Walton was a liability and a shell of the player he once was.
Carrot top.
Looking for redemption and one more chance to be a part of something special, he called Red Auerbach to see if the Celtics would be interested in trading for him. The deal went through, though health still remained the biggest question on everyone's mind. Could his body withstand the grueling championship campaign these Celtics were setting out on? Well, in the 100 games that the Celtics played that season, Walton played in 96 of them.
Wow.
He won the 6th Man of the Year award thanks to his size, smarts, rebounding ability, and defensive instincts. He was still every bit of the best passing big man ever, and found a kindred spirit in Bird, who also reveled in elevating the talent level of his teammates and in the fine details of basketball. To boot, Walton added an Andy Bernard dynamic to the team. He had had his good old days and seen them drain through his fingers. Yet here he was, once again, with a chance to be a part of something historic, completely aware and appreciative of the fact that this was and would always be the good old days of Celtics basketball. In all, the roster touted 5 Hall of Famers.
Wow.
5. A whole lineup. And every starter on the team was a double-digit scorer. They gelled together to form a hive mind presence, assimilating into nothing short of Bird's brainchild. If Bird were cutting, DJ would put the ball where it was supposed to be the second it was supposed to be there. If McHale was rolling on some poor soul in the post and got doubled, Ainge would be in the perfect place for a kickout. If Parish got open down the court, you could bet that the ball would find him. Emulating Bird's all-around prowess, the Celtics could beat you in any which way. Whatever you did, they did better. If you had a speedy, heady guard, you had the pleasure of being locked down by Dennis Johnson.
Ooh.
If your calling card was your big men, you had to contend with the greatest front court of all time. Not razor sharp defensively, the hive mind will beat you into a pulp with their passing. Your offense isn't clicking on every conceivable cylinder. You would be swarmed, you would turn the ball over, and every shot you took would be smothered. And if you let the game stay close down the stretch, Larry Bird would put the nails in your coffin. They had answers for everything. They could change their style of play on a whim and excel at it. Bird, Ainge, and backup point guard Jerry Seasting were all dead-eye shooters. The big men were some of the best post players to ever play. They could put out an absolutely massive lineup with Bird at the 2, McHale at the 3, and Parish and Walton in the middle. They could go small with no loss of quality with McHale at center and Bird at the 4. Craziest of all, they really wouldn't even need to size up or size down. The '86 Celtics are still one of the only teams in history to be able to play a small ball style with a gargantuan starting lineup. Everyone was mobile enough to push the pace and stay active. Their inside-outside proficiency could space the floor. They could defend and corral nearly all types of scorers, and their passing would carve defenses to shreds, all without giving up an inch. And, if we're checking boxes, the Boston Garden in the 1980s was the best home court in sports. Already some 50 years old, the dingy dungeon halls of the Garden had been host to some of the greatest players and moments in sports history, offering comfort to its allies and peril to its enemies. The crowd was insatiable and earned a reputation for both their devotion and potential for viciousness. The rafters were littered with championship banners and retired numbers in such quantity that they became superfluous. The Celtics took advantage of this and ran with it, notching a 50-1 home record including the playoffs. Were they perfect? No, they weren't that athletic, and they had a tendency every now and then to get bored and take their foot off the gas against bad teams. Could they have gotten to 70 or even 72 wins? Sure, and you can hold that against them, but tell me, when we're talking about something as grand as the greatest team of all time, how much do those 3 to 5 regular season games really matter? As we established in the beginning of the video, the Celtics lost the '85 finals to the Lakers for the first time in franchise history. The loss stung deep, and members of the team still believe that they let the series get away from them. With a newfound inspiration and the drive to reclaim what they believed was theirs, they tore through the league with one team in mind. The rivalry between the Celtics and the Lakers should need no background. Since the days of Jerry West and Elgin Baylor competing against Bill Russell and Bob Cousy, the two franchises have defined the NBA within and without. Today, the two franchises account for nearly half of all championships in NBA history.
Wow.
And the rivalry was never more intense than in the 80s, as Magic Johnson and Larry Bird presented their teams and their sport to the world. Since their iconic college basketball championship showdown, the two had assumed the role as battling titans, trading blows with one another, daring to push the boundaries of basketball to fit their own needs and desires. No pass was too extraordinary, no shot too outrageous. And after the Lakers had landed such a damaging blow in the finals, Bird and the Celtics were eager to return the favor. In the two regular season matchups between the two squads, the Celtics came away with victories both times against the defending champs. And while they no doubt enjoyed the bragging rights that this afforded them, their true crusade began in the playoffs. In round one, they found themselves matched up with the 40-win Chicago Bulls and an extraordinary young guard named Michael Jordan. Having missed most of the season with an injured foot, Jordan was eager to assert himself and unleash his latent talents. He did just that. After a 49-point performance in Game 1, Jordan put on a spectacle in Game 2 by setting the NBA record for most points in a single playoff game with 63.
Told y'all I did a reaction to that video on my channel, so if you guys want to go check that out, go to the playlist on my channel and check out all the Larry Bird reactions. I believe it's 4 parts, so don't worry, you're not gonna probably have to worry about watching the game all in one segment, because it was like 2 hours long. It went to 2 or 3 overtimes, and of course Michael Jordan had 63 points. Larry Bird had about 38, 37, and it was just a great game. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm gonna let you guys go check the video out if you haven't seen it in a long time. Also, if you're still new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and you're just now here, turn notification bells on, hit the subscribe button. Let's get them likes up too, y'all. Let's get them likes up.
Bird famously described the effort as God disguised as Michael Jordan. It was a glimpse into the future of the NBA and a coming out party for the league's next great star.
Hey, shout out to Michael Jordan, man. We gotta give some Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan on this channel. If you guys want to see some of them on the channel, please hit the like button. But as of right now, we're going to stick with the Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. And every once in a while, I might incorporate some of that. But, I can add in a lot of that, in a daily routine. Like, daily, you can see something different. Also, I want to point out that someone in the comments was talking about Jesus, calling Larry Bird or Jesus or something like that. But they just said something about, Michael Jordan being a god. Honestly, with all the back and forth that I've seen in the comments, it's preference. Some people don't, want to be, using the word other than using it for religion. Other people don't really do that as well. So everybody's entitled to their own opinion, you guys. I just want to keep that in mind. We got to respect everyone's opinion. But I don't think that the guy from making a case is using anything in a derogatory manner. So just keep an open mind with it, okay?
Ultimately for the series, though, it didn't even matter. The Celtics won both games. Not even such an extraordinary performance as Jordan's was enough to dent the armor of the Celtics, who then won Game 3 to sweep the series. And after killing God... I can't say that.
Okay, well, there we got it right there. You heard him say he can't say that, but I'm just letting it be known. Just respects everyone's opinion. The man is literally just being funny. He's some sort of comedian or something. I don't know, but shout out to his sense of humor and at least trying.
In the next round, Boston was faced with MVP runner-up and the league's leading scorer, Dominique Wilkins, and his Atlanta Hawks. Though the Celtics had won all 4 of the regular season matchups with the Hawks, each contest was decided in the single digits, and most had come down to the final moments. Dominique represented Bird's toughest matchup in the East, with his boundless athleticism and potential for incredible outbursts. The Celtics succeeded in containing him for the most part, though, putting up walls to the lane and closing out on his jump shots. Though they were competitive through the first 3 games, the Hawks were at the mercy of the Celtics and found themselves down 3-0. With Game 4 in Atlanta and a series victory for Boston all but certain, Wilkins and backup point guard Spud Webb caught the Celtics with their foot off the gas, combining for 58 points and denying them a 4-game sweep. Back in Beantown for Game 5, Bird and company took the opportunity to remind the Hawks, themselves, and the league that this was their year. In one of the great statement games in playoff history, Boston turned an 11-point halftime lead into a 33-point blowout.
Wow. 33-point blowout is crazy, Dominique Wilkins. This is a direct shot to you, man. That's crazy. Hey, shout out to the Ghost Star. Spud Webb, being one of the shortest basketball players in the league.
By an absurd third quarter in which the Celtics outscored the Hawks 36-6. Defense turned into offense. Offense turned into more offense. And by the end of the period, the crowd was bursting with supreme confidence in their team.
They just can't believe what has happened to them. The crowd is starting to chant "Beat LA." A little premature.
The Celtics were a team of destiny, and the Garden knew it. Boston then easily dispatched a 57-win Bucks team in the Eastern Conference Finals, though in fairness, Sidney Moncrief had sustained a hobbling foot injury earlier in the playoffs. He missed Game 1 and was ultimately held in check by the Celtics, who took the series in 4 games. Would a healthy Moncrief have made a difference? Unquestionably. Would the Celtics have swept the Bucks? I think it's unlikely. But would they still have won the series and advanced to their 3rd straight finals? Yes. In any case, the Celtics were now 4 wins away from capturing their championship and submitting their application to the all-time team discussion. All they needed was a worthy opponent. And they got one, though it wasn't the one they were expecting. That's because the defending champion Lakers had been upset in just 5 games by the upstart Houston Rockets and their mammoth combination of big men, 7'4" Ralph Sampson and 7-foot Akeem Olajuwon. And they intended to prove that their victory over the Lakers had been no fluke. After 2 Celtic victories in Boston, the series moved to Houston for the next 3 games. Here, the Rockets put their foot down and showed a resilience not yet seen against these Celtics, earning the respect of the basketball-watching public. They won Game 3 by 2 points, helped in large part to Sampson's 24-point, 22-rebound performance. Still against the ropes, though, they faltered in Game 4, suffering a 3-point defeat. With a 3-1 series lead through the first 4 games, the Celtics were on the brink of their destiny. They'd been able to mitigate the Rockets' size advantage on the boards, though the 23-year-old Olajuwon had succeeded in making himself known as an intimidating and impressive young talent. With Boston looking to close out their season with a championship in Game 5, Olajuwon played an inspired game with 34 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 blocks. The Rockets won and ensured that no championship would be hoisted on Houston's home floor, but not before damning their championship chances. Just into the second quarter of the game, Sampson had gotten a mismatch on 6'1" Jerry Seasting. After some pushing and jostling for position, Sampson turned around and delivered 2 quick, heavy blows to Seasting, igniting a bench-clearing altercation.
Oh!
Sampson was...
Man, he was punching everybody. Who was Samsung? Who is Samsung, y'all? Who is Samsung? I know it's a phone company, but who is Samsung, man? He done punched up Sisting. I forgot how to pronounce his name. He punched Dennis Johnson. He was punching everybody, man. Hold on.
After some pushing and jostling for position, Sampson turned around and delivered 2 quick, heavy blows to Seasting, igniting a bench-clearing altercation. Sampson was subsequently ejected from the game, though Olajuwon did carry the Rockets to a victory and forced a trip back to Boston. The Celtics were pissed. They were pissed that they'd let that game get away from them. They were pissed that they'd let Houston keep the series alive. And they were pissed that Sampson had squared off against a player over whom he had a 15-inch height advantage.
Y'all know I'm about to do a reaction to that, right? I'm just letting y'all know, so stay tuned.
Just the day before Game 6, the players worked themselves into such a feverish lather, playing with so much physicality, that head coach Casey Jones had to call off practice. The Garden was no different. The fans were delirious, setting a new kind of record for malevolent trash talk, with most of their attention focused on the imposing Rockets center. The team and their fans wanted to win, to claim their rightful place at the height of the sport, and they wanted to make the Rockets regret the day they ever messed with the Boston Celtics. And the instrument for that righteous fury was none other than Larry Bird. For one game, Larry Bird played a different sport.
I just got chills running down my skin. After that, like, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I know Larry Bird about to cut up. You know Larry Bird about to cut up. Like the video, like the video, like the video. You know Larry Bird about to cut up, like the video. I know some of y'all seen this game already, but I haven't.
In what has been described in a
Wow. One heartfelt ending. Great video. I don't know. I didn't know that the Boston Garden was knocked down in 86, 98. One of the two. I would probably never get a chance to see it besides the times that I've done a video, reacting to the Larry, the Celtics, And I can tell you right now that every time I've seen a video, the stands were fully full, every seat taken. You see great signs out there. They got the Chief, they got the Bird, all these Bird slogans. They even just had a Houston something out there that they was hanging. I don't know what that was about, but that was crazy that they even allowed that to happen in there. But hey, that was their community and that was their vibe, and I know that was one heck of a time to be alive. Secondly, I want to say that I am truly amazed at how hard they had to work to become champions that year. Not only did they have to, go against the Houston Rockets, they had to play against the Hawks. They had to play. They never see the Lakers, but I'm pretty sure they played against the Lakers that year and had to see the Lakers. You had Detroit Pistons. You had the Bucks with Sidney McCreef. And the list just goes on with how many teams the Celtics had to overcome in order to get that far. And, you compare the talent from then to now, and I would admit that, everyone in the NBA as of right now is pretty much talented. There isn't anyone that really lacks any skill, but a lot of those people lack the confidence that the people had back in these days when these people played. That's why a person like Samsung would just turn around and just punch somebody for no reason. Like, that confidence that you can just do that and get away with it is outside of this world. But the competition was a whole lot higher because people actually wanted to win. It wasn't all about money like it is now. And I can really understand why, not considering, one of these modern day teams as the best to ever be put together, and why he give it to the 1986 Celtics. That team, they worked hard for that. They were great players. They were in their prime. They had great chemistry, no matter how you lined them up on a roster line. And also, last but not least, they had heart. They had heart. They was going to fight and tussle with anybody, and they was going to hustle out there to beat you on a basketball court. So I just respect his opinion here. I did notice I think he said he got it wrong. It was in his card, but I'm gonna go probably check out that video on my own, cause unless you guys want to watch it with me, drop some in the comments. But in the meantime, you guys comment what you guys thought about the video. What did you guys think about the competition that they had to go up against in the playoffs? What did you guys think about their record, their home court record, 50-1? What did you guys think about them going 15-3 in the playoffs? You don't really see those type of stats anymore. So drop in the comments what you guys think about some of the statements that I made. What did you guys think about the team? Do you guys feel like that the Celtics was the best team ever? 1986 Celtics was put together. This team was the best team ever, or not? But anyways, I don't want to have a long outro, just like I don't want to have a long intro. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like the button. If you're still new to the channel, you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Turn notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on the next video. And it's your boy DtaeNoDinero. Peace. We out.